basic narrative is a religious psychological horror film that focuses on our main character and their declining mental state and how that affects her relationship with the church and her family, because she's quite religious.
We drew inspiration from movies like Black Swan, Carrie, American Horror Movie Story. From a movie like Carrie, the quick clips, the short clips that we used, and the mental problems she was going through, and how the state of trauma she was in, inspired us to go for psychological thrillers like this.
So we've come up with a name, and it was Leviticus, and then the passage, which was 18:2. So that passage basically kind of talks about kind of mental illness and kind of how Christianity would react to that. So we thought that was quite appropriate. We thought there was our opening was quite stereotypical because we have a female victim and she's quite vulnerable because she's obviously going through some mental issues. And it's also quite stereotypical because we've also got the dark side to the church. That's quite stereotypical of religious horror films.
Based on the information we have, we realized that horror movies contributed to 4.1% of movie releases in the UK and a gross box office of 22.9%, and 2% of all UK total gross offices. So from this we can see horror movies might not be the most popular in the UK, but still have a reasonably large number of people who watch horror movies in the UK. And if we release our movie, we can see from these stats that we have a wide range of audiences.
In terms of production and distribution, our film's kind of small independent film, so we tried to find a company which would fit that sort of theme. And there are a lot of companies that produce just horror films, and so we found out that Blumhouse Productions is probably the best distributor for us, because they commonly, all their films are kind of low budget, independent films, and they're very horror specific. And although there are other major companies and other companies that produce these kind of psychological horror films, we think that a company that's sort of focused on them would be the best choice.
Our choice of mise en scene went just exactly with our ideas of what we want to create. Places with graveyards, we chose the church in the Harrow on the Hill. We chose a church down at Wembley High Road, and there are different shots of our location. We chose foggy forests and graveyards, and we decided that we would go early in the morning, as this would show our ideas in a better sense.
So the mise en scene and makeup. So we decided to put our main character in white, which is also quite stereotypical, just to represent her vulnerability. And we decided that throughout our montage, because it's going to be a montage film opening, so throughout that we're going to change her white kind of outfit, and we're going to make it a bit more dirty to show how much she's declining into her mental state. We've also got demons as characters in our film opening, and so they're going to be in quite dirty black clothes with eyes that stand out, and that was part of our makeup. We're going to use the makeup department kind of thing to help us create our costumes and our makeup for our characters. We also found our actors, so we're going to use Evan, and we're going to use friends that we've kind of asked to help us. For our props, we decided to use a lot of religious imagery, kind of. So cross necklaces, Bibles inside the churches, stuff like that. We've also decided to use a confession box, which we're going to make because we can't find an actual one. So that would also give the religious kind of side, but also a confession box is quite dark and actually quite scary if you go inside one because you don't know what's on the other side. So that's what we're going to kind of use. And we've also decided to use a broken mirror to show kind of the alternate reality, maybe her mental state that she's in.
So in terms of sound design, we're thinking a lot about what kind of non-diegetic sound we'd want mapping, and we've got a song called Preface, which has a very kind of choral, choir-like tone, and that fits in with our religious theme. And we aren't going to have any dialogue in the thing, so the tension is going to come from the non-diegetic and kind of diegetic sound effects, like the ambient location sounds of kind of the birds in the forest, show the isolation, and the echoing footsteps in the church. And we're going to have motifs for all of the demonic characters, which are inspired by Black Swan. Since the characters represent the people and the effect that religion has had on them, we're going to use natural human sounds, such as laughter and other sounds, which show that although the threat seems supernatural, it's actually very human and seems more threatening in a way. And our title credits, like we said, are a montage-style kind of self-contained piece, and we think that's more effective as we can tell it kind of. They allow us an opportunity to be more creative with what you have in there rather than having to stick to a strict narrative, which is inspired by films like Seven and things. And our font is going to be quite messy and handwritten, which demonstrates the personal effect of the themes that the introduction have had on the protagonist. And the credits will be shown in frames between our shots.
So we decided to include a variety of shots because we are doing a montage kind of themed opening. So we've got quite a long storyboard which fits in with the music and the sound we're going to use. We've decided to use a muted colour palette with certain bright colours for the symbolism of the blood and certain things that stand out to the main character. Yeah.
Well, like I said, we've got a lot of different shots which show different kind of ranges of perspectives around the scene. And yeah, we're going to contrast our editing with kind of long, slow shots as well as quick montage bits, like we said. And we'll have shots that are present for only a few seconds between the main narrative, like we said, of assorted kind of objects and items, sort of unsettling, which add to the overall atmosphere of the piece.
So I've written up a production schedule, which basically just says for each day that we're going to be shooting what we're going to be doing. So, for example, on Mondays, this will go over 2 weeks. So for Mondays, we're going to shoot scenes that require no actors, so no costumes will be needed, and they're just going to be this kind of establishing shots that we're going to shoot. So maybe shots of the church, inside of the church, the graveyards, forests. And I just said that we don't need the makeup team and locations and times that we're going to use. So we've also talked with our actors and we've decided what days would also suit the makeup people as well, just so that we can get the most out of those days and when we're going to shoot.
Our risk assessment, basically for the area, it's a really woody place and we may have to look out for sharp objects. The church setting may offend some people, so we might need some permission before we use the place. And the fact that we're using streets to film, we need to watch out for vehicles and other stuff that could be passing by.